Hello students, my name is Seth and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. Turn your frustration into fun with your online tutor Seth. So my topic for the presentation is chordates. So let's proceed towards the topic. Phylum Chordates. Chordate evolution is a history of innovations that is built upon major invertebrate traits. Okay. Chordata is a phylum of animals that have a notochord or dorsal stiffening rod. Okay, as a chief internal skeletal support at the some stage of their development. Most chordates are vertebrates. Vertebrates means the animals with backbones. Okay, but the phylum also includes some small marine invertebrate animals. The three features unique to chordates and found in all of them at least during early development are: first, the notochord, which is composed of gelatinous tissue and bound by a tough membrane. Okay, and the second is a tubular nerve cord, okay, which is known as spinal cord, which is located above the notochord. And third is a gill slits leading into the pharynx or anterior part of the digestive tract. In addition, all have blood contained in vessels, and the tunicates and vertebrates have ventrally located heart. All have a postanal tail, which is again an hallmark of chordates. That a postanal tail is an extension beyond the anus of the notochord or backbone and of the body wall musculature that contains no internal organs. In vertebrates, animals of the subphylum vertebrate, a backbone of bone or cartilage segments called vertebrae that develops around the notochord. Its upward projection partially surround the nerve cord. In many fishes and in early fossil amphibians and reptiles, the notochord persists in the adult and is enclosed by the vertebrae. Okay. However, it disappears during embryonic development. There are two invertebrate subphyla of phyla Chordata. First is Urochordata, they are also known as tunicates, and second is Cephalochordata, that means also known as lanceolates. Okay, and a third invertebrate group that comprises the acorn worm and their relatives. They show affinities with the Chordata and has sometime been considered a chordate subphylum. Okay, but is now often classified in a phylum of its own, the Hemichordata. Okay. So, chordata evolution is a history of innovation that is built upon major invertebrate traits, as I have told you. Second, they display many of the basic traits that first evolved in the invertebrates that we have studied in the earlier sections of this chapter. First is bilateral symmetry, cephalization, segmentation, coelom, gut, tube, etc. Okay, chordate evolution is marked by physical and behavioral specialization. Okay, for example, the forelimb of mammals has a wide range of structural variation, or which is specialized by natural selection. Okay, now as we know that animals have two levels of organization. First is cellular level of organization and second is tissue level of organization. Cellular level of organization means that the organism, it is comprised of only a single cell. Okay, whereas tissue level of organization means group of cells which comprises tissue. Okay, so that means the organism is the tissue level of organization. Okay, tissue level of organization is again divided into three, that is pseudocoelom, enterocoelom and coelomates. Okay, no body cavity between epidermis and gastrodermis. Okay, for example, Coelenterata and Platyhelminthes phylum of animal kingdom that we have already red. Okay. Second is pseudocoelom. Pseudo means false. Okay. Pseudo means false and coelom means cavity. So the one which has false cavity is example of this is node. Okay. Coelomates. Coelomates is again divided into two. Mesodermal cells from a single cell during growth of the embryo. Matlab, coelom is formed or developed from the mesodermal cells from a single cell during the growth of the embryo. On the contrary to this, the coeloms formed from pouches, they pinch off from the endoderm. Endoderm is the inner layer of the skin. Okay. Skin, or you can say a cavity like. Okay. So Annelida, molluscan and arthropods, they are the examples of mesodermal development of coelom. Whereas formed from the pouches pinched off from the endoderm, they are again divided into two. The one which has no notochord and the one which has notochord. Okay. The one which does not have no cord is a echinodermata, whereas the one who has notochord present in it, they are considered to be as chordata. Okay. Now come to the evolutionary trends among chordata. As we know that evolutionary innovations and specializations, they led to adaptive radiations. What do you mean by adaptive radiations? The development of a variety of forms from a single ancestral group. Okay. Each kind of organism, including humans, is a mosaic of traits. Okay. Many traits are conserved from their remote ancestors and appears in them, and the others are unique to its branches on the history family tree. Okay. All groups are multicellular. That means they comprise of many cells. They have bilateral symmetry and they are coelomates, or the one which has coelom in it. They have 4 unique features that appear in their embryos and persist till their adulthood. Okay. So what are those 4 hallmarks, or you can say unique features of chordata? That we will be discussing after this slide. Just and let's know what's the difference between chordates and non-chordates. In chordates, notochord is present, whereas non-chordates mean the one which does not have notochord. Okay. Second, pharynx is perforated by gill slits, whereas non-chordates gill slits are absent. Heart is ventral in chordate. On the contrary to this, heart is dorsal in non-chordates. Okay. Postanal tail is a unique feature of chordate, whereas postanal tail is absent in non-chordates. Okay. So what defines a chordate? All chordates have at some time during their life these 5 characteristics. Okay. They have pharyngeal gill slits, they have brain, they have dorsal hollow nerve cord. This is the dorsal hollow nerve cord, which is ectodermal tissue that forms a spinal cord later. This is notochord. This blue line, sky blue line, is a notochord. It is a long flexible rod of mesoderm found in all chordates. In vertebrate, it is replaced by vertebrae of the backbone. Okay. And this is postanal tail. And this is anus. And this is endostyle. Endostyle is also known as thyroid. Okay. It is a mucus secreting gland which collects nutrients from what's taken in from the mouth. Okay. Now, what are the features of chordate? A strong but flexible rod called notochord, as I have just shown you in the previous diagram. This is the notochord. Okay. So second, a nerve cord that parallels the notochord and gut, which anterior ends develop into a brain. This is the nerve cord. This is a nerve cord which runs parallel with the notochord. Okay. And embryos have gill slits on the wall of the pharynx that function in both filter feeding and respiration also. These are the gill slits, okay? These are the pharyngeal gill slits, okay? That helps in both filter feeding and respiration. And then comes the postanal tail that extends past the anus. This is the anus and it extends past the anus. That is why it is known as postanal tail, okay? Now come to the characteristics of chordata. Notochord or dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits, blocks of muscles, which is also known as myotomes, okay? Postanal tail, okay? These are the hallmarks or the unique features of chordate, which are present only in chordates and not in the non-chordates, okay? So this is notochord, which is running parallel with the dorsal hollow nerve cord. This is the dorsal hollow nerve cord. This is the brain. Brain is situated to the anterior end of the dorsal hollow nerve cord. Okay. These are the muscle segments. They are also known as myotomes, which are the block of muscles. These are pharyngeal slits, and this is a mouth. This is anal, and post-anal tail is the one that extends past the anus, okay? Now come to the notochord. We will be discussing each unique feature in detail, okay? So the first is notochord. Notochord is a unique feature of chordate which is not present in non-chordates, okay? Just break the terminology and you will get to know about its meaning. Noto means back and cord means a string, okay? All chordate embryos have a notochord, okay? It is a very stiff but very flexible rod that provides internal support. It is then replaced by the vertebrae of a spine. It remains throughout the life of most invertebrate chordates, among present only in the embryos of the vertebrate chordates, okay? In vertebrates, the notochord is present during embryonic development. At that time, it induces the development of neural tube, which serves as a support for the developing embryonic body. Okay? In some chordate, it persists throughout the life as the main axial support of the body, while in most vertebrate, it becomes nucleus pulposus of intervertebral disc. Okay? Embryos of vertebrates have notochords today as it retained a key role in signaling and coordinating development even as it was lost in most adults. Okay. Now, if we see about its structure, a notochord is composed primarily of a core of glycoproteins, which are encased in a sheet of collagen fiber wound into two opposing helices. The angle between these fibers they determine whether increased pressure in the core will result in shortening and thickening versus lengthening and thickening. Okay. Now, do you know, students, which organism retain a post-embryonic notochord? The answer to this question is first hagfish, second lamprey, third tadpoles, and fourth is a tunicate larva. Okay. Now, if we talk about their development, about the development of the notochord, okay, listen carefully. Then notochord forms during gastrulation period, and soon after it induces the formation of the neural plates, synchronizing the development of neural tube. Okay. I will be explaining in detail in the nerve chapter. Okay, but as of now, just listen carefully. I'm again repeating. Notochord forms during gastrulation and soon after induces the formation of the neural plates, synchronizing the development of neural tube. It extends throughout the entire length of future vertebral column and reaches as far as anterior end of the midbrain. Okay. Now, come to the second unique feature of chordate, which is the second Unique feature of chordates, students: dorsal hollow nerve cord, that is also known as a spinal cord. Okay, the dorsal hollow nerve cord derives from the ectoderm. Ectoderm is the outermost layer, which then rolls into hollow tube. Okay, it is one of the embryonic feature unique to chordates, along with the notochord, postanal tail, endostyle, and pharyngeal slits. Okay, the dorsal nerve cord is a hollow cord dorsal to the notochord. It is formed from the part of the endoderm that rolls, forming a hollow tube compared to the other animal phyla which have solid ventral tube. Dorsal nerve cord is later modified in vertebrates into the CNS, that is central nervous system, which is composed of the brain and spinal cord. Okay, dorsal means the back side as opposed to the ventral, which is front side of the organism. Always remember that notochord should not be confused with nerve cord, as notochord is a supporting structure, part of the internal skeleton, while nerve cord is a part of nervous system. Notochord is found only in chordates, while nerve cord is found in both chordate as well as non-chordate. Notochord is a mesodermally derived structure formed on dorsal side of the chordates, while nerve cord is ventral in non-chordates and dorsal in chordates. Okay. Now come to the third hallmark of chordates, which is pharyngeal gill slits. Pairs of opening through the pharynx. Okay, in organism that live in aquatic environment, pharyngeal slits allow for the exit of water that enters the mouth during feeding. Okay, at one point in the lifetime of chordate, the wall of pharynx were pierced with a longitudinal series of openings, that is known as pharyngeal slits. Okay, pharyngeal slits created an opening that allowed water to enter the pharynx, as I have just told you. They play no part in respiration. It is used to filter food particles. Okay. However, they have become modified in aquatic chordates and are supported by gill arches, which contain filaments for gaseous exchange. Okay. In vertebrate fishes such as bony and cartilaginous fishes, the pharyngeal gill slits develop into gill arches. As I have just told you, that they have become modified in aquatic chordates and are supported by gill arches. Whereas we talked about the adult fishes, but the juvenile fishes, they use them for breathing. Okay. In reptiles, birds and mammals, the gill slits are vestigious, that is vestigial, which occurs only in the embryo. Now come to this is the body plan of the chordata. Again, it is a mouth, this is the pharynx or the pharyngeal gill slits, this is the trunk, this is the digestive tube, this is the anus, and postanal is a postanal tail, this is a notochord, this is the dorsal hollow nerve cord that runs parallel to the notochord. Okay. Now come to the endocyte, which is another unique feature of chordates. An endostyle or a thyroid gland is a longitudinal ciliated groove on the ventral wall of the pharynx, which produces mucus to gather food particles. Okay, this hallmark is found in subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata in the larva of lampreys. Okay, Urochordata and Cephalochordata, they are the classes of phylum Chordata. Endocytes, they assist or aids in transportation of food to the esophagus. Okay. This is the endostyle. It is also known as thyroid. Okay. Now come to the postanal tail, which is again an hallmark of vertebrates. Just break the term and you'll get to know about its meaning. Post refers to the behind, whereas anal refers to the anus. The postanal tail is a posterior elongation of the body which extends beyond the anus. Okay, the tail contains skeletal elements and muscles which provide a source of locomotion in aquatic species. In some terrestrial vertebrates, the postanal tail also helps with balance, coating, and signaling when danger is nearby. Okay, in humans and other apes, the postanal tail is present during embryonic development, but it is vestigial as an adult. That means it vanishes when it becomes adult. Okay, postanal tail, they help or assist in propulsion in non-vertebrates and fish, but vestigial in later lineages. Okay, now come to the chordate metamerism. Chordate metamerism means body segmentation, the one which we saw in annelids, if you remember. It appears to have evolved in two lineages of the chordates. The cephalochordates and the vertebrates probably occurred after divergence from the Urochordate. As I've told you that there are the two classes of phylum Chordata. One is Cephalochordata and other is Urochordata. However, segmentation in the chordate does not involve the coelom. The cephalochordata and the chordates movement is accompanied by contraction of muscle fibers that are arranged in segment blocks, which is known as block of muscles or the myotomes. Okay, presumably segmentation of muscles developed as an adaptation for undulatory swimming and rapid burrowing. Okay, there are two theories: Clark's locomotion theory and cyclomerism theory. Clark's theory postulates that metamerism evolved independently in chordates, also for locomotion, which was carried out by lateral undulation of body in primitive aquatic vertebrates. Okay, and block of muscle, myotomes, and nerves to be arranged segmentally for better coordination of undulatory movement of body. Okay. And cyclomerism theory was proposed by Segwish. He said that metamerism in chordates evolved for better arrangement of organs in coelom. True coelom or enterocoel evolves by outpouching of a coelentron in three places to produce protocoel, mesocoel, and metacoel, which further partition later to produce somites. Okay. Now come to the last hallmark of chordata, block of muscles or the myotomes. It is another unique feature of chordate which is not present in non-chordates. Okay, it surrounds the notochord. Myotomes, it surrounds the notochord and the nerve cord. In anatomy, the myotome is the motor equivalent of the dermatome. Dermatome is an area of skin that is mainly supplied by single spinal nerve. The notochord, nerve cord, and the myotomes extends the tail. A myotome is a part of somite that develops into the muscle. Okay. So this comes to an end. In the next section, we'll be studying about the classes of phylum Chordata, Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So stay tuned. Thank you.